Okay, everyone, welcome to another episode of On Point EDC. Today we have a really cool review for you guys from the brand KraftGeek. Now, a little bit about this brand. They began with a mission to reinvent the creative process for artists and creators, believing that the process of creating shouldn't be bound by the limitations of space, but should be accessible to the moment of inspiration. They offer a variety of equipment catering to musicians, artists, and hosts of different content creators, and it's basically to provide an aesthetic solution to both behind-the-scenes work as well as final displays, all while maintaining the key feature of portability without compromising on structural integrity. Now, the type of product we're going to be looking at is going to be an EDC tripod. Some key characteristics and design language when you're looking for something that you can use for a tripod, of course, and actually, maybe carry it fairly often, like at an everyday basis. You're gonna want to make sure that it's everyday capable in terms of size, build quality, and versatile capabilities. Typically able to easily convert between being a selfie stick and a mini tripod. And for the channel, although I don't do too much, kind of talking head types of segments, it is always nice to have that versatility available if I am on site or something like that. And, I can kind of get two birds with one stone in terms of packing a tripod as well as a selfie stick. So I thought, hey, I've been actually on the market as I've been, stepping up my game in terms of production and expanding the format for the channel. So I've actually personally been looking for different types of tripods. So that's where KraftGeek kind of comes into play. They reached out. I thought this looked really good on paper. So I thought, why not try it out in the metal? So with that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. Okay, now before we dive in, quick customary wristwatch check. I'm wearing my Seiko SLA 079. This is the new Prospex Marine Master. And, if you're new to the channel, typically the meat and potatoes of my channel is going to be watch reviews. And, that's the pairing that I have on today. So that's what you'll notice on my wrist as I kind of go through the feature sets of this particular piece. Now, this is actually quite large for something that I would typically do a tabletop review in. So I'll go ahead and get some B-roll and kind of overlay that. But we'll kind of go all through everything here in the typical standard format of the tabletop. Now, this particular item is known as their Variety Tripod. It's meant to work with iPads, phones, and cameras. These go for $44.99, which is great. For like basically $45. You can get this. Big thank you to KraftGeek for reaching out and providing this product sample for review. It definitely saved me a bit of extra time and money as well. Although I do have a number of different kind of setups that I've used, but I was really, and I am honestly quite interested to really take a closer look at this because, it's basically available for kind of a fraction of the cost of what I was able to kind of piece together. Now, this genre of product can have a wide array of variants, right? Like you can have stuff that is multiples of hundreds of dollars, and you can have stuff that's, under $20 in terms of a mini tripod. So what I like here is that this hits a bit of a sweet spot. It does have really, really solid build quality, which is pretty nuts here. Check this out. Great design. Push the button here, and then it gets going. Oh, there, let me just... Okay, it's kind of hard to do this with a tripod there, but there's this tripod, also the one that I'm shooting the video on that I'm having to reach around. But essentially, there you go. Check this out, and you can get that down. The cool thing is you do have really nice little features like here. You can pull that out so it can be definitely even more stable depending on what you have on top. Of course, the way that this is actually going to be threaded is going to be perfect for a camera. But if you wanted to, you could put a phone on there. But if you do put a camera on there, the nice thing too, another nice feature, you get the little spin wheel so you don't have to spin your camera or your phone around, which is really nice. So check that out. There you go. There's actually 2 points of articulation on that. And then the nice thing is if you have a screen or a tablet, you can actually extend that out and look at how much more room you have now. So that's a ton of versatility. I do like how simple and clean that integration is. And if you wanted to, you could just do like one click out, and then it's just going to put less stress on your phone when you slide it in there. If you have a pretty beefy phone case here, like let me actually grab my phone. It's an old Pixel. So if we see that, essentially now that can pop in. It's not going anywhere, but it's just not being smushed as much as it normally would be if I would have had this essentially pushed all the way in. So I think that is quite nice. Also, you're going to notice a little remote here. So you can charge this remote via USB-C right there, and essentially it's just going to be a little Bluetooth shutter button, which is going to work for pretty much, you know, most phones. Now, the cool thing is, as you look at this here, as that's closed now, what you can actually do is, you know, you basically can set this, let's say like this, and you would hold it out and you'd be able to use it as a selfie stick. And then of course it still has all of this extension here, which is going to be able to just keep going and going, which is very, very nice. So I can appreciate the versatility there. You also do have these nice cold shoe mounts so that you can put other accessories on there, whether they be shotgun mics or, you know, or lighting or anything like that. Actually, let's go ahead and grab some of that so we can mount some of it. Okay, so we have, of course, a shotgun mic, which is great. Now you can actually have that side mounted instead of it being on top of your camera or on, you know, or if you have a phone, now you actually have a place to put it. The cool thing is you actually even have other options once you add this piece on, because then you can also have another mounting position right there, which I think is pretty cool. Also, if you have any lighting, boom, there you go. Or let's say you're using, different types of mics. Now, the nice thing is you can actually place this on here, slide that right in, instead of having it on your phone, trying to mount it, or of course on a camera. So I don't know, I think that that is really, really cool. Actually, let's go ahead and pop this off here. So, I mean, I think the cool thing about this is that you could use it for a phone, or you could even use it for another camera. All right, now let's say you actually take a camera and mount it on here. Let's move some of this stuff out of the way. Okay. Of course, this isn't, oh, whoops. I'm gonna have to pop that out, okay. Then pop this back into here, if I get it right. Okay, maybe I should cut away really quickly. Okay, fixed. All right, we'll drop that back in here for now. We'll go ahead and mount this beautiful little guy. So this is the G100 with the Lumix Leica 15 millimeter, which is on a you know, micro four thirds sensor, which is going to be a full frame equivalent to 30 millimeters. So what we'll do is we'll tighten this guy right here. Okay, we'll tighten this up. So you have basically the points of articulation. You can tighten it up, lock it in, whichever way you want it to go. And then the cool thing is, again, you can, as you're mounting things, you know, if you do want to go, of course, with this type of setup, you absolutely could, but that does take up a lot of room. So the nice thing is, let's say you did want to use here. Now, instead of putting it on top of the camera, and worrying kind of about which direction this is going to face, you can just face it towards yourself very easily like that, which I think is really cool. And then, of course, if you need a little extra lighting, either you could put it in the hot shoe mount on the camera, or you could have a little versatility here. Of course, the problem with this is going to be typically the space, in terms of, you know, you would want a little bit more room if you were going to utilize this, but you could obviously kind of offset that, fit this on there. So that's one thing to consider depending on what you have mounted on here. You do have a lot of different options, which is cool. You could even actually take something like this and use it for another screen, and you can essentially, just bolt it on, because there's a lot of different mounting options. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of cool things here, but let's go over some of the details here. So the cool thing is you can switch easily between these, basically with that press of a button here on the underside. So you just press that little button, and essentially you're going to be able to transition this from here, selfie stick mode, to push that, there you go. And then it's already becoming a tripod. And however you want it to be, whether it's going to be, something for a smaller camera or larger camera. The nice thing is you do have quite a few options, or you could even have it set up, of course, for a phone. So you're not even going to need kind of all of this extra, which I think is great. Now, there is, of course, that adjustable height. You have that aluminum pole that's going to extend between 12.6 inches to 60 inches, which is a good couple of feet, which is going to be perfect for both outdoor and studio shoots. You, of course, do have this angled 360 angled ball head, which is great. So they can be adjusted in a bunch of different ways for versatile shooting angles. You're going to have that 1/4 inch screw here that's going to support whether it be cameras, as you guys can see how easily that went on, or if you want to, again, mount something like for your phone, or you could even use it to mount lighting or anything like that. The cool thing is, if you need to, you can do that, because of course most lighting is going to be also threaded, so you can have that as kind of an a secondary thing to have some off camera lighting if needed, which I think is very cool. And yeah, ultimately the fact that you can just kind of do this and turn it into a selfie stick, get it pushed out a little bit further. Of course, when you do have, depending on the lens and the type of crop that you have, sometimes it's nice to get that extra distance when it comes to the way that you're going to be shooting. And this definitely gives you that extra level of extension, which I think is really, really great. The cool thing is also it's going to be able to support cameras, lights, microphones up to 4.4 pounds, which isn't bad. That's like a pretty decent payload. And when you have this in hand, I have to say it definitely gives you that type of feeling of security and quality. So that's nice, especially at the price point, because it can be kind of hit and miss when you're buying stuff that's going to be, significantly cheaper. And I know for some people, $45 seems like a lot, but when you start seeing some of the other options that are online, even just on Amazon, I'm not talking about getting on B&H and looking at the real, prosumer level stuff. $45 is actually like a really screaming deal when you think about it. Now, you do get those 3 cold shoe mounts that are going to be able to attach those external accessories, lights, mics, if you want to enhance the audio visual quality, you could use it for cooking videos, live streaming, whatever you want. You're also going to have that wireless remote, which is going to make things a bit easier, depending on, of course, how far you have that extension going on the selfie stick, right? So if you have this thing like a good couple of feet away from you, the cool thing is you can just use this to activate, your shutter to start recording or stop recording, versus, having to kind of use up extra time pressing the button and then extending everything back out again. So I think that's great. In terms of in-hand ergonomics, guys, this thing feels really good. Again, I like that it's really flush and round. There's nothing to pinch, and it's nice and grippy, and I can appreciate that, right? It's a great balance of kind of lightness in terms of everyday carry. Like, this isn't going to weigh down your pack as much as even a smaller tripod, right? Like, and this is, again, Selfie-Stick plus tripod, so I dig that. And the grip, it's not overly aggressive. Like, there's not like a bunch of grippy things on here, but the nice thing is, at at the same time, you still do have a good amount of traction, which is great. So, I mean, this, even though it's a smooth surface, it's not like glossy smooth. It still has kind of a satiny texture to it. So it's still easy to grip and, you know, and gives you better controls without compromising comfort. Now, in terms of the size, this is probably about as large as you're going to want to get for a mini tripod, right? That's going to be more portable and travel friendly, like in terms of that type of setup. This is probably as long as you're going to want to get. You get any bigger than that, and you might as well get, you know, the benefits of having like a regular 3-legged tripod. But the nice thing is, because of this setup, you can just basically have all the space taken at the bottom, at the feet, and then everything's vertical. So in terms of like trying to fit this behind a desk, next to a desk or something like that, or, you know, if you're doing coverage like myself at a watch event and there's a lot of foot traffic, the nice thing is you're not going to have a lot of trip hazards. This is just going to have the small footprint spread out at the bottom, whereas the rest of it is going to be that nice thin shaft. In terms of the kind of in-transit packability, guys, the size, again, like I mentioned, I think it's great, and easy to pack. Any spot that you have for a tripod, this will fit in it. And if you don't have any space for any particular dedicated tripod spots on your gear, whether it be, you know, a sling bag or a dedicated backpack, or even like carry-on luggage type stuff, this is still, again, a really small footprint. It does break down, so even this extra piece, if you don't need it, it's even one less thing to pack, which is great. You can see, and everything's pretty self-contained, so you don't have to worry about a bunch of kind of open, sharp edges that are gonna, you know, be abrasive towards anything else inside your camera bag. In terms of model variants, this is actually available in an all-white setup as well as black with red accents, or as you can see here, as all black, but, you know, it does have some kind of darker gray accents, but this is considered the all black variation. Now, in terms of comparable models, guys, the mini tripod / selfie stick combos, they really have a huge market, and can vary a lot in terms of cost versus quality. So I really love that this one really hits a nice all-around sweet spot in terms of sizing, quality, and price. Again, $45. So bottom line here, guys, KraftGeek have done a great job creating really a best-in-class option with their variety tripod. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. You know, what's your experience? I know that if you search like mini tripods or travel tripods, there's just so many videos. This one in particular, again, I like that is more in that selfie stick convertible style. And, you know, I think in the beginning, a lot of these types of setups were normally kind of flimsy, like too flimsy to use as tripods. But as you guys have seen, this thing actually works really well when you have it set up like that. So I dig it, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you guys have any experience with anything similar to this? What was the price point? How competitive would it be compared to this? Let me know down in the comments below. Or if there's something else or within this genre you'd like to check out, definitely ask, and I'll absolutely do my best to look out. So with that said, let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you like the video, please do like. And if you aren't already, please do subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys. Let's get the watch on the outro.